Mark Dobmeier is a name that race fans in this part of the country have become very familiar with. He and his crew log a staggering 1,300 miles per week, traveling between tracks in his hometown of Grand Forks, Sioux Falls, and Knoxville, Iowa. And it seems like success follows him wherever he goes. Our hot Rod Pattison recently caught up with the well-traveled and well-decorated Dobmeier to get a closer look at the man behind the wheel. It's something we like to call Hot Laps with Hot Rod.
Well, Jay, we figured that since our program is going to air in North Dakota and in South Dakota on Midco Sportsnet, let's get a race team that has a North Dakota-South Dakota connection. The driver, Mark Dobmeier from Grand Forks, and one of the co-owners, Dave Lundstrup from outside of Sioux Falls. And Mark, welcome to the program. And, you know, a couple wins already here this season, usually a lot more, but this spring has really kind of taken things into its own hands as far as the racing season.
Yeah, it sure has. First of all, thanks for having me on here. It's definitely my pleasure, but this spring has been kind of a little bit different. We've gotten a late start. Seems like when it just starts to warm up, we just keep getting another batch of snow or rain or something. So finally, the last couple of weeks, we've gotten a few races in, and we're able to pick up a win in Houston last Sunday. This team's starting to get rolling now, and we're looking forward to getting the season rolling.
You've beaten the best, obviously, the Steve Kinzers, the Sammy Swindells of the world. Mother's Day opener this year at Houston, you had a chance to race against Kyle Larson and some of these guys, and maybe Tony Stewart at some time too. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think, man, I'm racing against some of the best guys in the world, or does that never ever cross your mind?
You know, it used to cross my mind a lot when I first kind of got into it, and if you let it cross your mind, they can intimidate you quite a bit. They are excellent race car drivers, and at the end of the day, most of them will race you extremely hard, but they'll race you clean at the same time. There's always a few out there that race you a little dirty, but you know, as soon as you can get that intimidation factor out of your mind, that's when I found that you can. You know, you don't pay attention to who they are. It's just another race car on the track, and that's when you can learn to get a little quicker than them and beat them. You know, when you don't let them intimidate you.
Two of the most prolific sprint car winners, per se, in the last 5 to 10 years have been from North Dakota, Donnie Schatz and Mark Dobmeier. You ever think about that?
I do occasionally, and in fact, I have a ton of respect for Donnie Schatz. He's an extremely nice guy. And in fact, when I'm struggling and you know things aren't going very great, we're not winning many races, or we're just battling with things, he's a very nice guy. I can call him up on his cell phone and he'll talk to me, and I'll tell him what I'm running into, and he's usually more than willing to lend a hand. And even a couple of years ago, there was a time when the radiator shop was so busy I couldn't get away to race him. I think it was like a Spencer, Iowa show, and Dave had the race car down here, and I called him up and I said, hey, Don, I knew he flew to every race, so I called him up and asked him if it was possible I could jump in with him. And he said, absolutely. And at the end of the day, I flew with him, took off at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon from Fargo, and so I could work most of the day, run down there, jump in an airplane with him, flew down there, and came back. I think I was in my own bed by 12:30 up in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and he wouldn't even take any gas money from me. So I have a lot of respect for that guy, and yeah, he's a great help.
The driver is one thing, but you have to have good equipment and a great team behind you. One of the biggest honors that have ever been bestowed upon me is getting a chance to name one of your engines. One of the few race teams, if anywhere, that have actual names for their engines. I got the name Bullwinkle. How did the whole naming of the engine thing come about?
You know, I really don't know. It was years back. You know, when we got like 2 motors, it was a huge deal for us back then, because we were your local weekend warriors that started off just racing in Grand Forks, and it just kind of kept on snowballing and getting bigger. And when we got 2 motors, we were so proud of it. I think we put 2 names on them one time, and it just kind of stuck. So every time we get a motor and we stick a name on it, and you know, our engine builders, Charlie and James Fisher, they just shake our heads at it, because I think we're the only people that have names for them when they come in, and we have some pretty hilarious names when it comes down to it. So it's, to be honest, it's an easy way to keep track of it. We have about 4 or 5 motors, and it's just easy to keep track of them that way, and it's kind of fun too.
Yep. And some fun names too, like Bullwinkle, of course, his little cousin Rocky, and Janet and Maximus. I mean, there's some fun names too.
Oh yeah, and you know, Maximus, that was Dave Lundster's youngest boy. His name was Max, so that was right about the time we got that motor. So you know, Maximus it is. You know.
Yep. Last but not least, that brings me to being a new father. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I was lucky enough this past September to become a dad, and had a little baby boy. We named him Jackson. So.
And you name him after a racetrack too.
Oh yeah, that's part of it, you know. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. He's growing like crazy, and it's kind of a whole different aspect of life. But he was able to come down to Victory Lane on Friday night after I won the race in the River City Speedway just this past Friday, and he even rode with me in the car on the way back to the pit area, so it was a lot of fun.
Well, congratulations, Dad. Congratulations so far on a great season. Keep up the good work, and we'll see you down the road, my friend.
You got her. Will do. Thank you.
All right, that again, Hot Laps with Hot Rod. Our guest this week, Mark Dobmeier.
Now, Dobmeier has collected 85 main event wins over the past 5+ season. That includes 3 already in 2013. Well, he'll be looking to add to that total starting this Friday night at River City Speedway in Grand Forks. That is, if Mother Nature finally cooperates. We'll have more on that track's early season struggles next.